Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. Today we're going to be talking about DC Comics' Justice Society of America, issue number 3. It is written by Geoff Johns, art by Mikel and Jarin Ordway, colored by Jordie Bellaire and John Kalisz, and then letters by Rob Leigh. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. It's no form of disrespect, just trying to do my best. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. It does help a lot. It's all free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just me and you talking about this book right here, right? So if you are not caught up on this book, there's a lot going on, but it's basically Huntress with the snow globe that was given to her by her mom after the Justice Society, which she was a part of, was all murdered by Degatron, this villain, right? A time-traveling villain, supposedly, with the Huntress grabbing a hold of the snow globe, which I'm told it has something to do with Thomas Wayne. It would be this version of Huntress's great-grandfather or grandfather, because Batman and Catwoman are her, parents. But basically, after, touching that snow globe, she has been kind of flipping through time. She landed in 1940s with the original Justice Society of America. After talking to Dr. Fate, it kind of like propelled her forward, and she's kind of like in modern times with Justice League Dark at the moment. This book, this issue starts out right now in 1944 on the Western Fronts during World War II at the very end of it, and it just paints the story of it's basically like Degatron's origin story, and it kind of involves Sergeant Rock. You can see him right here. But Sergeant Rock and his crew, they kind of get this tip about these Nazi scientists at the end of the war that are collecting like victims from the towns, and they're using them in their weird scientific experiments. Upon getting the tips, they head out to that castle. We do see Degatron, and he's using like occult magic and stuff, and basically he's trying to go to the 4th dimension. We do see Sergeant Rock and his whole crew. They get here and they start killing like all the Nazi soldiers, but before they can get to Degatron, he activates kind of like it's a machine, but it also activates like this like magical portal or something. They think he died in that blast, but we find out during the pages of the real Justice Society. I think it says All-Star Comics issues 35 and JSA issue number 12 is where these stories kind of take place about Degatron. But it says that he went into the future after he got blasted, and he basically went into the future a couple years in the future, and basically kind of started his evil reign at that point. It says that he got tired of the whole Nazi, the whole Hitler trying to take over the world, and he kind of started doing his own thing. But we do know that in some future he does make it to the Justice Society of America, and he ends up killing everybody but the Huntress. And that's kind of where we catch up with right now. She's explaining all this to the current Dr. Fate, which is Khalid. It is not what is his name? Kent. I'm drawing a blank, but I know his last name is Kent. But this is the current version of the Justice League Dark. We have, or just some of the members, but we have Deadman, Dr. Fate, Detective Chimp, and they're basically trying to figure out if she's telling the truth, or, and we go into almost everything that I've explained about the snow globe that she's been flipping through time. And that's what she's doing right here, is explaining to all them. She's also explaining to them that this version of the Justice Society of America, including this version of Dr. Fate, was murdered by Degatron. Upon, Dr. Fate hearing that, or Khalid hearing that, because it is two entities in there, and currently this isn't Naboo inside the Dr. Fate helmet. It's a different, like, god that's attached to the Dr. Fate. I can't remember her name, but it is a female. It might not be female. They're both sex. I don't know. It's a god. But after hearing his fate, he's kind of confused that the snow globe brought her to this current timeline, because Dr. Fate is kind of like at his rookie version, and supposedly when he gets killed, he's like a master in his craft. So he's kind of confused on why the snow globe brought him back, kind of thing, and not where he's more of a master. At this time, they come up with a plan to go see Madame Xanadu. Dead Man suggested, and he claims to he wants to turn into a favor, and they're going to take the snow globe to her to see if she knows anything about it, saying she's had dealings with crystal balls in the past, kind of thing. We do catch up with this version of the Justice Society of America, including Green Lantern, Power Girl, Stargirl, Johnny Thunder, and basically stating, because all of a sudden they are teleported there, and that's who they're supposed to find. As soon as they get there, they realize that there's this whole incursion going on with this dude named the Angle, and he has this like teleporter, and he's basically teleporting all these different versions of Bizarro. The Justice Society of America are trying to, deal with it, and they finally realize all they have to, they just have to get that like machine away from him or whatever. While this is going on, the Huntress in these purple lettering kind of explains how most of these versions of the Justice Society of America kind of forged and made her into the badass that she is today. She's kind of amazed at this version of Johnny Thunder, because in her version they were kind of fused together, and they were the most powerful member of the JSA. Every member that they show here, minus one being Hellcat. Hellcat had already perished by the time she was a member of the JSA, but she says that Catwoman, it was the only member that Catwoman only had the highest of respects for, so she knew it was somebody that she had to look up to. As soon as they are teleported there, Huntress kind of gets there and instantly just, finishes everything by shooting an arrow at that guy Angler, who ends up, it ends up going through his hand, destroying the mechanism and teleporting all the weird Bizarros back to where they're, Bizarro land, where they were from or whatever, and she ends up taking out the Angler. At this time, this is kind of when Dr. Fate explains, the reason for teleporting and the need for the JSA. But she's trying to prevent them from dying, kind of thing. The book jumps back to this moment with Degatron, and it's that whole explanation when he has already gone back in power, and for some reason he goes back to that moment when he could have stopped Sergeant Rock from interfering with that experiment, but he wouldn't be the badass that he is if that would have happened, so he decides not to do it. At this time, we are back at the Brownstone. The Huntress is being interviewed by this version of the JSA. Everything that they have as far as being able to tell, she's speaking the truth as far as Green Lantern's ring, Dr. Fate's helmet, and the genie, JK, Johnny Thunder. They all determine she's speaking the truth, but they also believe it's a version of a truth that has, that she believes. It might not be the truth per se. So there's still the matter of the investigation, but after all, they start kind of listening to her that Degatron is a threat, that he's coming for him, and this version of the Justice League, Justice Society that she's sitting in front of at the moment is the one that's about to die, so they need to heed the warning. So they all insist that they go look for Degatron, but before they can kind of carry that out, all of a sudden a bright light emits, and sure enough, Degatron is right there standing on the Brownstone. And that's kind of where this issue leaves off. Next up it says the death of the JSA, which we've kind of seen briefly in the first issue. But that is it. That's this whole issue. That's where I left off. Man, a couple comments I can say. The art is phenomenal. The colors, the art. I'm loving the story. Getting to see, like, I can't wait till we get to this moment. Like, for one, why Degatron is doing this, because we've had this whole like creepy thing where he's been following the Huntress her whole life. I hope we finally get this explanation of the snow globe. I know it has something major to do with Flashpoint, Thomas Wayne. I think it's supposed to be his memories or something like that. I don't know. Y'all let me know down below. Fill in the gaps that I'm missing. Especially about Degatron. Do y'all have any, because even like Dr. Midnight and stuff like that, she can't figure out what his plans are. If he was going back in time and messing with things, that would make sense, but he's going in the future messing with things. I don't know, but that's all I got for you. Let me know down below. Please comment. Let's talk about it, guys. Alright, I will see y'all later.